Help protect us from racism and xenophobia by becoming an I Love Black People ambassador today. Join on iloveblackpeople.com. No matter where you are in the world, join us today and get access to the I Love Black People network. Special thanks to Banneker Communities.
Welcome to another edition of I Love Black People. Happy joy in 2023. Just thankful for all that we've gone through in 2022. All our supporters, thank you for being here for I Love Black People. All our guests that have contributed, our production crew, Pascal, Jeremiah, all our team doing the work out there every day to build a better world, to protect Black people from racism and xenophobia, and literally in the spirit of I Love Black People. And definitely want to thank my family, especially my wife Carol, for all their support with our show. So again, welcome to a brand new year and a brand new edition of I Love Black People. Just kind of want to give us a recap, and like I said, thanking everyone for being here, and kind of talk about some of the things that we're going to be focusing in this new year. As one of the things that I would be remiss not to bring up, the first airing of our show will be on Thursday, January 5th, which is the Founders Day of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. As a fraternity I pledged, and I'm very thankful all the way back at Big Money Boxing, better new fall '89. And just wanted to say congratulations to the members of Kappa Alpha Psi. And it might seem like I'm just saying this as a shout out, again, on a personal level, which it really partially is. But for all the organizations that have helped, communities and families take young men and help them with their transition from, being basically teenagers to young adults, I think is important. There's an important role that these fraternities, all of them, have played in helping specifically Black college men matriculate through universities. And not enough time is used to talk about how, when young people are coming of age and being a part of something with brothers from all over the country and all over the world in many cases, and finding a sense of brotherhood that's not based on your location or anything else but the pursuit of that type of brotherhood. So I just definitely a shout out to the Noops, but I would be remiss if I didn't even speak to the fact that there are so many organizations, so many fraternities besides Kappa Alpha Psi, who do such an awesome job in, preparing young brothers to meet the goals and objectives of adulthood, manhood, and true manliness. And I think, again, it's important to make note of that without saying one is better than the other. I think every organization fits somebody different. None of us are monolithic. So praise God for all the fraternities, and we wish them the best. And with the treatment of these young brothers, we wish the best treatment and productivity in the incoming year. And I guess a lot of these, there'll probably be a lot of activity and a lot of spring lines and things like that. So we might even do a show talking about some of that. So that seems like a good topic to talk about how to love Black people with these organizations. Also, just to kind of get back on track, we're going to make sure that we speak about a lot of the technology that's going on to support our Black community. Definitely going to be attending, I think, the 5th time for the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. So we'll be meeting people out there and actually identifying some folks we'll bring on the show, talk about some of these technologies that will have plausible solutions to problems in our community, as well as some of the hottest and new things that we as a community should be aware of. So we're going to make sure we add a little bit more technology than we did this past 2022, and attending some of these events. And I'll keep you posted on some of these activities. And if y'all follow us on our social media, you'll be able to see some of the behind the scenes or some of the pictures. And it's, you can kind of put the words with the face and get some of that from our social media. So definitely we'll do more with increasing the visibility of our activities, as well as, connecting it to the show. So definitely look out for some of those things on the tech side. And then also, we every year, this will be going to our 6th year. We host a Black Blockchain Summit at Howard University, the oldest, best summit, blockchain conference uh, of its kind. When I say of its kind, there are many conferences, but none of them focus on solving problems in the Black community like we do. This conference, there's been a lot of discussions. I've actually been interviewed um, on different stations about this FTX and some of the things about the volatility and issues with crypto and scams. And when I go on those shows, I tell them they're right. There's lots of scams. Because anytime people are talking about finance and money or value or things that are precious, there's going to be scams. And what we as a community need to do is make sure that our people are aware of these scams and understand. But I also want to make sure people are aware that there's a difference between scams and technology. And literally, people used to use pagers and beepers to do all kinds of illicit crimes. But that didn't make pagers or beepers, criminal, inherently criminal. Doctors actually use beepers and pagers when they had emergencies. So when you're talking about crypto or these technology, the blockchain, they're just technology. They're neither good nor bad. The people who are trying to sell crypto as somehow going to save the Black community and the unbanked, I think those are lies. And the people who say that these cryptocurrency technology are going to doom the Black community, I think they're lying too. I think what we need to do is just understand the technologies. And one of the things we refuse to do here at I Love Black People is allow our community to be left behind. I'm of the age of, as a Gen Xer, of when the internet first came out, and it didn't come to our community. Actually, it wasn't until you went to college or some of these more high tech professions that you were exposed to this, and then fundamentally we were basically trying to play catch up on the technology. And I think learning from that lesson, be it blockchain or any of these other, AI, any of the artificial intelligence. And that's one other thing. They'll often give you these acronyms and things so you don't, VR is virtual reality. Like, it doesn't take much more to say the actual word so everybody will get it. So I think one of the things important is that we're aware of the technology, understand the technology, and you choose not to use the internet back in the day. I think that's fair. If you choose not to use the cell phone back in the day, that's fine. And if you choose not to use or deal with blockchain, I think that's fair too. All these technologies are. I actually never had a beeper, like, so that I never participated in that technology. The cell phone came out, so again, I think these are things that we as a community need to be skeptical of. I think the skepticism is fair. I think what's not fair is that people may be skeptical, maybe of Bitcoin, but when they look at the credit card or look at the stock exchange or look at these other financial instruments and industries, they don't have the same level of skepticism. All of these things warrant study in our, vigilance and making sure that we're not getting exploited for other people's gain. So again, we're going to look at more of that in the year 2023, Jordan number 23. So we definitely want to make sure you stay tuned to see to listen to some of those conversations, because I think they're very important. And I get, and make sure you can always email us at info at I Love Black People, info at iloveblackpeople.com. So I get a lot of questions and concerns about Bitcoin and blockchain, but I want to make sure we answer and respond to that. So I'm listening. We're listening to your emails. Keep sending them, info at iloveblackpeople.com. And those topics that are important to you, we do everything that we can to make sure that we address them on our show and make sure you are empowered. Also, we're looking at more Pan-African conversations. We talk about I Love Black People, but we represent probably about 45. It was undercount. We're probably like 55 million in the so-called North America, United States. and then you got Canada and the Caribbean. But we're 1.5 billion people, so I'm actually going to be traveling to Zimbabwe soon. We have an office there in Harare, and I also have a farm project that we've been working with my co-founder, Mr. Christopher Mapendera. So I'll be there and engaged with our team and making sure that, again, spreading the good news of I Love Black People and traveling more and making sure we take you guys along with us. Not guys, I don't want to do the gender thing, but take everyone with us so that um, we understand the how expansive our movement is, with this show and giving as much access and opportunity to share the stories of our brothers and sisters literally all over the globe. There's not a place in the world where you're not going to be able to find us. And we have a story to tell in all those places. So we want to make sure we do a good job of that. And like I said, I'll be traveling. I'm trying to divide. I'm definitely going to spend more time in Washington, D.C., your nation's capital. But with that being said, we'll be spending time quarterly, traveling, and we'll have our team in different places. We have a Saturday class with Anana Akua and Sister Dr. Tyrene Wright. We always invite our members of I Love Black People globally. If you want to see how expansive the work we're doing, that Saturday at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time is a great call to be on. Again, all these things that we offer are just helping us build a great platform. We call it a safety net, where no matter where we are in the world, we'll be protected from the harms and humiliations of racism and xenophobia. And literally, this radio show is giving us the opportunity to spread the good news of all the wonderful things that our members of our community are doing, and even people who are not Black but are doing things that benefit and help enhance the work of our community. We want to make sure all those things, all those voices are heard by you, so you can utilize the information to be empowered. So again, we call it I Love Black People. We pray that everybody, Asians, everybody from all walks of life, love Black. We're worthy of all that love. Keep bringing it. All that love is what we need. So again, we'll be making sure that as we travel the globe, touching and hearing from these different stories, making sure you're a part of that. And that's been something else that we've been told that folks are interested in. And one of my, I won't say pet, but one of the key concerns, even going and having a headquarters in Zimbabwe, is the U.S. sanctions. We definitely we never, so often you see these NGOs or nonprofits doing work. And, I've gotten to a point where if the government did its job, there wouldn't be a need for so much of this money going to NGOs. It's probably a very inefficient way if you think about it. I even thinking about it, and I'm not into war or violence of any kind, but even when I see these commercials on TV, like Wounded Warriors, if someone serves in a war for a government, for their country, well, it's for a government. I won't say we get into the politics of what's really going on, but the government will send somebody to lose their limbs, maybe even lose their mind in some way. But when they come back domestically, they have to go to a nonprofit for help. That's not right. It's just not right. Like at the end of the day, if someone, again, I didn't support Afghanistan, Iraq. I knew it wasn't weapons of mass destruction, but they sent our relatives over there. Our relatives have gone up. My father was career military, Vietnam. He was over in Asia supporting that. And, they oftentimes take people who have very few options and give them an option and promise them things that would take them out of their condition. And then when they come back, the war is still in them. And they're not given the tools nor the support for their friends for them and their family. And they got to go to these nonprofits who, again, I'm not, want to name any particular names. I said one, but, some of these folks are not even using the money for what they say they're going to do. The government, and I think that's a part of going to be more of our conversation this coming year, is that we have to make sure our agenda is not being controlled by someone else. Like at the end of the day, If you're someone who's gung ho for these things occurring in wars, or and if you're not for those things, I think we all can agree someone coming back from those theaters who's lost a limb and lost other things, they deserve to have the support. And the amount of money spent on these defense budgets is obscene. So literally, it's important that those soldiers, oftentimes who come back, those veterans, don't have the capacity to advocate for themselves because they're just trying to get their lives together. But when we look at these elections, local or whatever, municipal, state, federal, making sure that those folks who are so happy to spend money on weapons are more concerned about our family members who come back broken and who need some help. So those are things that we're going to kind of make sure we include in our conversations about how we not wait for the government to change, but we change the government. How we use all our tools, including vote, but that's just one that we can utilize to advance our agenda to make sure our family members, if they do choose to go and fight in a war, that they come back and be treated with the dignity and respect as somebody who just risked their life for the government. The U.S. government in this case, but it could be any of these governments. That being said, and I think that's the context. I want to be clear. This is an international conversation, so I want to make sure we do less conversation that just speaks to the United States as like the center of the world. But I will say we're a lot of the things that, like, I'm being based in Washington D.C., we literally have people from all over the world. So one of the things that's great about that, we can hear stories without the traveling of people from all walks of life and all parts of the world. And we're going to do more to leverage that in the upcoming years. So definitely stay tuned for that. And then another thing I do, I own a villa with a good friend of mine in Dominican Republic for going on about 12 years now. And there's been the whole time I've been there, visiting there and traveling there. We've seen the racism, we've seen xenophobia, and I'll be candid. I see xenophobia and the colorism all over South America and the Caribbean, as well as still in the United States and even parts of Africa. And white supremacist ideology is practiced by non-whites, like black people practice behavior like that, just like women can practice sexism. There are some women who won't listen to what a woman might say, but if a man says the same thing, they're listening to it. These are ideologies. They're not people. They're not you're not going to arrest all the white supremacist persons. It's an ideology that has to be addressed. And one of the things we see in the Dominican Republic is really an issue of statelessness, because many times you'll see Haitians that are literally born in the Dominican Republic had never been to Haiti, and they're actually deported back to Haiti even though they never been there before. So there's a lot of issues related to that. And one of the things with I Love Black People, we're going to do more of, especially since I have property there, is that make sure that we utilize that to bring attention as well as help. A few years back, and we do this on a regular basis, we actually helped quite a few Haitian folks in the community that our villas in. We worked with a church to get their members visas, so that the paperwork, when someone stopped them, they would at least have their paperwork. And if they still wanted to leave, that's fine, but they would leave with dignity, because they wouldn't be forced to leave under duress because they were being deported. They would be able to leave with a proper visa. So we're going to be doing more work around that, making sure. And again, this goes back to not just being. I think Frantz Fanon said, if you meet an African in Europe, they're either a trader, a slave, or a tourist. And if they're tourists, send them home. If they're a slave, free them. And the point being made is that we have a responsibility not to practice white supremacist ideology as a tourist. Like, there's so many systems that are not that way because the people want them. It's because of exploitation. And I'm not saying that as someone holier or not. I've done a horrible, like, let me just say this. there's taken a lot of educating that I've had to take just to be a better person in the United States, let alone in other countries. So I think there's a lot that we all need to continue to learn. But with that being said, especially when we're abroad or outside of our communities that we've grown up in or traditionally in, we need to make sure we take extra time to better understand the plight of the people that we're interacting in, and not see it just as like a Tarzan movie or something weird where there's some like exceptionalism being played out in black face. So again, um, definitely want as many people to come out and visit our villas, villabethany.com, villabethany.com. You can check us out, and we're going to be making sure that we give you an opportunity to support the work we're doing to help make sure that the Haitian brothers and sisters that are facing deportation have the right paperwork and have all the things they need to live with dignity. And that's what this thing with racism is, not just people physical, there's physical brutality, there's also the humiliation of it. And so it's important that we make sure that whenever we can help someone within the context, again, still have a good time. I'm not here to knock. I continue to have a good time. I have a blast everywhere I go. Like I'm gonna rock out regardless. But that being said, that doesn't mean we can't also be thoughtful. I tell people when I travel, they ask me, is it business or pleasure? And I say, well, I try to make my business pleasurable and my pleasure profitable. At the end of the day, there's no need to pick one. Creating a lifestyle where you literally can, make something that's of note and make things happen, as well as enjoy it and enjoy the people you're around and the things that you're doing. So that being said, that's a part of what we do with I Love Black People, this radio show. We want to make sure you profit from it, you benefit from it, that you actually also enjoy it. And so making sure that our community is safe and has a quality of life that God would want us to have, we're going to always pursue that regardless. So definitely, if we're traveling, especially, make sure you give a helping hand. And if you're in the Dominican Republic, check us out. We're near Puerto Plata and Sosua. So definitely, if you want to do good and have a great time, villabethany.com. And we're going to be talking more about our activities in the Dominican Republic in the upcoming year to keep you aware. Again, if you got any questions, info at iloveblackpeople.com. We'll, keep you posted and updated with the things that we got going on in Haiti and DR. We actually, I've done some actually business in Haiti itself too. So we have some good members of I Love Black People contacts we've had on the show, Brother Ralph Shivery, and there's some other folks that we've had involved who are Haitian. So again, we don't take the viewpoint that you got to be the smartest person in the room. No matter where I go in the world, be it Chicago or Nairobi, I always try to be respectful of the folks who are there locally and learn. Try to seek out populations of folks that are sincere. But the biggest thing I try to do is learn and listen. So that being said, we also are looking at some international issues, like you might be aware of. I did go to Poland to help with the Ukraine crisis. We had members of I Love Black People who are based in Poland, as well as were based in Ukraine, who were participating, helping us get students. It was African students who were fleeing the war and fleeing the racism. And we worked with the members of I Love Black People to get those students, many of them from Zimbabwe, Nigeria, Cameroon. You can check back with some of the previous episodes where I talked to some of the folks we were working with. Again, it was really these amazing people who were concerned about their brothers and sisters who helped out. It wasn't NGOs, it was real people who were really concerned about their friends and family and the extended Black diaspora to make sure that they were okay. And it was a pleasure to work with and build off that energy. It actually was one of the things that helped us build out our app. If you get a chance, go to the Apple Store or Google Play, and you get the I Love Black People Safe Places app. And one of the things that was a problem in Ukraine, leaving Ukraine, was that many of our brothers and sisters didn't know where to go. And just like the Green Book, we could help compile places in Poland and other places where people will be treated with dignity and respect. So we saw that as being very important. And I definitely would be remiss being based in DC. We had a historical, amazing election of a amazing sister, Mira Bowser, in your nation's capital. And when I say Washington D.C., I'm not just talking about any city. It's the capital of the United States. It's your capital. No matter where you are, this is a place for you to come and be welcome. There's been a black woman who's elected 3 times, and there's never been in the history of the United States of America. No major city has ever had a black woman elected 3 times. Now I'll be candid. I've been to many African cities. I don't think, and any of my listeners want to correct me, I don't think there's even a major African city that's had a woman mayor for 3 terms. So if they have been, please let us know. We want to give that sister a shout out too, because we know how rare it is, and we need to give our people the flowers that they deserve. And definitely, Mira Bowser deserves the flowers for the work she's done and her commitment to our people, and that dedication and brilliance that she shows is amazing. And she has a daughter, Miranda, who's super amazing. She adopted, and she's a beautiful. I mean, she's our mayor is a beautiful person. So we've been blessed this past year and the year before, and we're going to continue to build and listen to you to make sure we provide the content that you're looking for and want to listen to. Thank you so much. Without you, as we always end the show with, I am because we are, and I definitely would be me without you listening and your support. With that being said, God bless. Have the best year you've ever had in your life. Thank you.
Help protect us from racism and xenophobia by becoming an I Love Black People ambassador today. Join on iloveblackpeople.com. No matter where you are in the world, join us today and get access to the I Love Black People network. Special thanks to Banneker Communities.